What's up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be talking about the refresh I did on this beautiful American lathe. Let's go ahead and jump right in. A little bit of backstory on this lathe. I'm the third owner. Just recently bought it from a machine excavating company. They had it for about 10 to 15 years and they previously got it from a machine reseller. I was really looking for a Monarch 61 series. I just love the beauty of that lathe, and I really wanted something that did 20 or more inch swing. This lathe was advertised as a 14 and I really ignored it because I wanted a bigger swing, but I did keep coming back to it because it just looked bigger than 14 inches. I ended up going to see it, and sure enough, the lathe is a 14 series, but it does swing close to 20 inches. And when I started doing some research, I realized that this lathe is a really well-built machine and even quite a bit beefier, in my opinion, than the Monarch that I was looking at of the same series. So I picked up the lathe, got a pretty good deal on it, paid about $3 grand for it, brought it back here, and that's when the fun began. When I brought this lathe back home originally, I wasn't planning on tearing it down fully. I just wanted to get the oil changed and get everything running properly. When I got it into position, I first noticed that I didn't get any oil from the oil site. At the place where I inspected the lathe, there was oil flow, so I was a little bit concerned. That led me to tear the head down and inspect to see what was going on. Once I got the head apart, I realized that the lathe was pretty out of level and the lathe was just not running into the site. After that, I decided to clean out the inside of the head, clean out the gearbox, and it kind of led me down this rabbit hole where instead of changing the oil, I decided to service the basic front half of the lathe and get it cleaned up. During the cleaning process, me and Monica probably spent about 100 hours getting it clean, and it was at that point I realized that if I was going to paint this lathe in the future, now would be the time. Once I decided that, I went ahead and moved around to the backside of the lathe so I could service the belts and take care of the pulleys and clutch adjustment. Once that was all set, I went ahead and installed an oil drain system. Prior to that, the oil would just leak right out. There was like a drain plug at the bottom of the gearbox, but I went ahead and piloted a hole through the bottom of the backside of the lathe, and I went ahead and added a quarter turn valve so that I could go ahead and drain the oil conveniently without making a mess. While Monica was cleaning the lathe, she found a broken cover right where the lathe reverse screw goes into the gearbox. We ended up pulling that apart, and I made a new piece and brazed that in and got it all back together. The condition of the ways on this machine are actually really good. They're very large and very smooth, free from any nicks or dings. Although it is an old lathe and there is some wear, it's definitely usable for the type of parts we're going to be making. Over here at the Carriage, I want to just state the obvious. This Carriage is huge. Compared to my other lathe, it's 4 to 5 times the size. It's super heavy and very overbuilt. Just like the headstock and gearbox, I also wanted to take the front of the apron apart and make sure I could get the oiling system working. When I took the bottom apart, I noticed there was a ton of sludge in the bottom of the apron. Once I got all that cleaned out, I rebuilt the pump and cleaned out the lines and verified that the automatic pumping system was working. With the apron sorted out, I moved my attention to the cross slide. I went ahead and disassembled it and deburred everything. Then I adjusted the nut for proper backlash and made sure that it was working properly. I then went on to the top slide and adjusted that gib as well, and took the top slide apart and actually added 3 holes to tighten up the gibs when I wasn't using it, just to add extra rigidity. Finally, we topped everything off with a brand new Aloris tool post. The tool post itself was well made, super heavy duty, and obviously very expensive, but well worth the investment. Over here at the tailstock, one of the first things I noticed when I inspected the lathe is how mushroomed over the front of the quill was. It looked like someone went to town at the front of the quill with a hammer trying to remove the drill. And so I decided to take it apart and bring it over to the lathe. And then I put a really nice radius on the end and cleaned up the mushrooming. While I had that apart, I went ahead and honed the inside of the bore on the tailstock and just polished the shaft to make sure everything would slide pretty smooth. Before taking that apart, the quill operation was a little stiff, but once I got everything polished up, it was nice and smooth and really moved effortlessly, so I was glad I went down that route. I also took the whole oiling system apart and really cleaned it out. I wanted to make sure it was working properly, just like the Headstock oiling system and the Carriage oiling system, and I replaced the sight glass on the front oil sight. That way I could easily read the whey oil level looking at the front of the tailstock. Also worth noting, I did take apart all the whey covers and replace all the whey covers with new felt pieces, both on the tailstock and on the actual Carriage. Ironically, I also destroyed the reverse shaft while trying to restore this lathe. I was working on my welding table and had it suspended on the forklift, and the welding table fell off and just demolished the lathe. Luckily, nothing major was damaged, but the feed rod for the reversing ability was totally bent. Luckily, I was able to pull the rod off, and after watching a couple of Keith Finner's videos, I used some heat straightening techniques and actually got the feed rod back straight within about 10 thousandths, which is really good for what it's being used for. Another cool feature this machine came with is a taper attachment. It's really nice to have this attachment because my other lathe doesn't have one. It has these really nice trays that you can remove. It keeps the taper attachment safe from chips, and you can get in here and adjust this really nice and easy. It seems to be pretty user friendly, and then when you're done you can go ahead and put the trays back on, and it makes for a really nice spot to put tool holders or pretty much other stuff on the lathe where you need for extra storage. This lathe also came with a track DRO. It's actually quite unique. It uses a roller type measuring system, which I had never seen before, and I tested it and it seems to be pretty accurate. We got the DRO face cleaned up and it seems to be working really nicely. I went ahead and added this rubber mat to the top of this lathe. Just really nice, gives me a good spot to sit my tool holders, wrenches, stuff like that. Because of the size of this lathe, it really helps having some extra storage because there isn't a shelf behind the lathe to sit tooling and stuff like that. I actually replaced the speeds and feeds chart on this lathe because the previous one was pretty beat up and a little bit difficult to read. Luckily, I was able to get this one made pretty cost effectively, and it just adds to the look of the machine and helps able to read the chart a little bit easier. Anything great comes with a lot of work, and this lathe has been no different. But now that the work is done, I'm excited to get out there and start putting it to work. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them down below and we'll see you in the next one.